I'm here in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting, an exclusive event where policymakers, investors, and executives gather to discuss the world's most pressing issues. However, there are two high-profile attendees who have everyone talking this year. US President Donald Trump and climate activist Greta Thunberg gave two of the highest profile addresses in Davos this year, and there's been a lot of buzz around them, not least because of their contrasting views on climate change. This isn't the first time the two have been pitted against each other. In September 2019, Greta delivered an emotional speech at the United Nations Climate Summit. In it, she condemned world leaders for what she perceived to be their lack of commitment to curbing the rise of global temperatures.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you!
This still from the event was widely shared online due to the young environmentalist's apparent displeasure with the president. President Trump has often dismissed the urgency of the climate crisis.
We're going to cancel the Paris Climate Agreement and stop. Unbelievable. And stop all payments of the United States tax dollars to UN global warming programs.
In 2017, he announced he was pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement, a commitment to decreasing CO2 emissions signed by 195 countries. Moreover, his administration has tried to roll back more than 65 environmental regulations since September 2017. These moves contrast the conversation happening on stage in Davos. Several of the panels here are centered on addressing climate change. This is the 50th anniversary of the World Economic Forum. The theme this year is Stakeholders for a Cohesive and Sustainable World. And despite, or perhaps because of this year's green agenda, the intrigue around what the US president was going to say was high. President Trump is scheduled to arrive any moment now. You can see a lot of people. There's a lot of security ahead of his big address at the annual meeting. So the president is addressing the audience now. His focus seems to be the economy, but the question on a lot of people's minds is, will he address climate change? As expected, most of the speech was spent touting his America First agenda. But then there was this moment when Trump called out climate activists for their pessimism.
But to embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of the apocalypse. They are the heirs of yesterday's foolish fortune tellers.
The president's use of the word apocalypse likely alluded to the WEF panel, averting a climate apocalypse. Greta Thunberg delivered its opening remarks.
I said I wanted you to panic. I've been warned that telling people to panic about the climate crisis is a very dangerous thing to do. But don't worry, it's fine. Trust me, I've done this before, and I can assure you it doesn't lead to anything.
Two different views from two very different people. So how is the World Economic Forum dealing with these contrasting views on its stage? I spoke with Emily Farnworth, who directs climate change initiatives at WEF.
This is the beauty of the forum. It is about kind of like these different perspectives coming together and being able to have a platform when you can talk about all of the issues. Obviously, Greta is representing a huge and growing, community of people, predominantly young people, but I think also of all ages who are realizing that climate change is really having a huge impact on the world.
Davos is known for a lot of talk around the big issues, but as Greta quipped in her remarks, not a lot of action.
We don't expect anything from the world leaders.
Emily says the organization is aligning its initiatives with its theme.
It's 100% renewable power that we use at the venues. We're looking at more plant-based foods, looking at kind of electric vehicles for our public figures.
From plastic-free beverages and LED lighting to paint from seaweed and carpets from used fishing nets, the nods towards sustainability are here at the event. Though of course the elephant in the room is the carbon-emitting air travel attendees used to get to the event. WEF is trying to mitigate that by offering attendees traveling in from Europe by train a 50% discount on their ticket. But are badge holders actually taking them up on the promotion?
It's a growing number as kind of people understand, well, actually it's not that far and it's a beautiful journey as well as being better for the environment. I think these things are starting to click in place for people.
And at least 20 people in Davos are taking their efforts to the next level. While the perception of Davos attendees is that they're flying in private jets and staying in luxury hotels, these young activists are working and sleeping in tents in sub-zero temperatures. Let's go and meet them.
It's a great symbol for us to be staying in tents when there's so many billionaires flying in their private jets.
That's Rainn Wilson, famous for his role as Dwight Schrute on the popular TV show The Office. He now serves on the advisory board of the Arctic Base Camp, a team of experts and advocates sleeping in tents in Davos to bring attention to the scientific research on the climate crisis.
It's all about getting climate groups to come together and unite behind the science behind climate change. So it's not a political thing, it's just a science thing. We have young climate youth ambassadors here staying in these tents with us. This is a youth movement. I'm obviously not a youth, but I really want to support.
Don't say.
Yeah, well, I want to support and empower the youth. This is a young person's issue. It's time for them to take the reins.
After speaking with Rainn, I meet up with Vanessa Nakati from Uganda and Kaimi Sylvester from the Amazon region in Brazil.
Hi guys, how are you?
Good, how are you?
They are 2 of 8 young activists at the camp. Vanessa and Kaimi show me their home for the next few days.
So welcome home.
Thank you.
There are 8 young people sleeping here.
Yes. 8 of you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't even move when you're sleeping. Like if you have to like be on one place the whole time. If you spread your hands, you're gonna knock someone out.
Yeah, that's true. So you just have to be straight the whole time.
Yeah.
After our quick tour, we sat down to talk about Greta's speech.
She was trying to remind the leaders that we are still in a mess, and at least if you love your children, do something for us, do something for our future, because we are losing out and we don't have time left.
But they seemed unconvinced leaders like President Trump got the message.
I just think leaders like Trump are just not ready to give up billions of money that they invested in the fossil industries, so they're not ready to give up those profits. That's why they keep denying that climate change is a problem for all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to protect the interests of
Exactly.
the 1%.
Yeah.
They don't care about the future, about the others 99% of the population.
Yeah.
So what inspired them to advocate for the environment?
For the last 23 years, I could see the destruction of the Amazon. And especially with the indigenous people, the problem is much bigger because they are dying, because there is no protection. There is no protection either for their territories.
It's not that Africa will be the most affected, it's that Africa is already being affected by the impact of the climate crisis. It really motivates me to keep speaking up more.
In January 2019, Vanessa co-wrote an article with Greta Thunberg and other activists demanding that the leaders of the World Economic Forum completely and immediately divest from fossil fuels. But critics of activists like Greta say their demands are unrealistic and appear to simplify a nuanced and complex issue.
I think they need to grow up. We've done much of the growing up, and it's time for them to man up and take up their responsibilities and secure a better future for us.
Thanks so much for watching our video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and as usual, don't forget to subscribe.